Hey, what's up, guys? Just wanted to make a quick video to show the difference between the belt systems and the black belt in just average martial arts schools in America, the typical martial arts school in America, and Jiu-Jitsu schools in America. So here we have 16 years. We could have gone further, but I just stopped this at 16 and just put this together real fast to show you guys, just to put the black belt into context. And then here we have white, yellow, orange, green, blue, purple, brown, black. These indicate the colors of the belts and the progression through the belts. Sometimes this is different in other systems, but this is what we use in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Now, in purple, you see adults that train at the typical martial arts school in America. Kids are here in blue, the kid that trains at the average martial arts school. Green is for the adult that trains at the Jiu-Jitsu school, and red is for the kid that trains at the Jiu-Jitsu school. So what we see here is that we'll look at the traditional, typical martial arts schools first, here. And as you see, they run side by side because there's no differentiation between the belts in a lot of these systems. The adult belt is the same as the kid belt all the way through. And usually you see here in about 4 years' time, you've reached black belt. It takes about 3 months between belts, sometimes more. But in 4 years, you can achieve a black belt. The only difference here is with the kids. They'll call this a junior black belt. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then here in the green we have, first off, the adult jiu-jitsu. There is no yellow, orange, or green belt. It goes white, blue, purple, brown, black, and then coral, red. We'll talk about that at a different time. So this person, it takes about, in our academy, 1.5 years to go from white to blue. Okay? Then it takes, about 3 years, 4 years at a blue belt to achieve the purple belt rank. And then from there it takes about another 3 or 4 years to achieve the brown belt rank. And then from there, 2 years, sometimes more, sometimes less, to get the black belt. All in all, on average, about 10 years to get the black belt as an adult. Over 16, that is. Over 16. If you're starting when you're over 16. And I actually want to correct myself here. You cannot get the black belt in Jiu-Jitsu until you're 19 years old. Okay, now let's look at the kid that starts, and we're going to see that both kids here are starting when they're we'll say they're 7 years old. So this kid, it takes him at least a year to get to the solid yellow belt, and then they have to be 10 to get the orange belt, so another 3 years for orange, and then they have to be 13 to achieve the green belt. So you see, we have age requirements for each belt to make sure that the kids are mature enough and that they're really getting the skills. And then they can't even achieve the blue belt until they turn 16 years old. And like I said before, this kid can't expect to get a black belt until they're 19 years old or older. Now the reason why it's done this way is to make sure that we're upholding the standard and the quality of the higher belts. And what this kind of does here, this kind of approach where it only takes, some schools it's only 3 years, 4 years to get a black belt. This kind of, it makes you chase the belt. And you're more concerned about getting here than you are knowledge and you are skill. And it's okay. I mean, some people have just never been exposed to, I don't blame the students. It's just the closest school in their area. It's the most convenient. But we're just making the point here that the black belt from these schools is far different and not on the same level as a black belt in a jiu-jitsu school. And if you look at this right here, especially let's look at this kid right here, that takes a long time, and it takes years. I mean, half this kid's life almost to just get to the blue belt rank. What this does is it encourages students to not chase belts, but to chase the knowledge and to build skill. And I also believe that this is very important because in this day and age, kids are used to getting things whenever they snap their fingers. They're not taught to work very hard for things anymore. And, jiu-jitsu makes them really be disciplined and diligent and teaches them proper goal setting. And to earn something that is worthwhile, it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of dedication. And then you think this kid right here that gets the black belt in 4 years, well, I mean, by the time they're 19, they could be a 5th or 6th degree black belt. And then by the time they're in their 20s, they've maxed out. They've reached 10th degree black belt. Then what do? And usually they end up coming to Jiu-Jitsu because they want something that's a little bit more structured, and they want something that's more challenging. So again, guys, if you do Jiu-Jitsu, please share this with your friends. This should show the difference. A lot of parents will say, well, my kid is a black belt. And how that happens is let's say these kids both start at 4, right? Well, if you start at 4, in 4 years, you're 8 years old and you have a black belt. Whereas if you're 4 in Jiu-Jitsu, you can't even get the solid yellow belt until you turn 7 years old, and you can't get the orange belt until you turn 10. So it siphons them away from worrying about the black belt, and it more puts them on the path of, hey, let's get really good at martial arts, let's get really good at self-defense, and this builds real confidence. I believe this is a little bit more superficial confidence where, what does this black belt really indicate and mean? It's not years of time and effort and blood and sweat and tears. It's just kind of coming to class, paying your tuition, and you're well on your way. Okay, guys, check us on the web, realjiujitsu.com. I hope this helps.